Namaskar. Good evening. Welcome to Zindegi. I'm Sushmita. I'm again with Dr. P.P. Bose. Today we are here after the showers and the rain, the beautifully how Delhi was flooded by rain and cloud, and we had it all. But now it is the aftermath. The rain has left us with waterlogging, puddles all over across Delhi, and this is most unavoidable. We can't help it. We don't know what to do about it. We have to go to work, we have to step out, but every time you're stepping out, you're putting yourself into puddles, and that creates a lot of problem. That creates havoc. People are falling ill. There's a rise in fever, viral fever. So therefore, I have Dr. P.P. Bose with me, who's going to enlighten us about how to avoid such situations, how to deal with it, how to cope with it in our daily lives. So Dr. Bose, as I just discussed with the audience, that there's puddle everywhere. So what do we do?
Yes, Sushmita. Namaste, dosto. It's indeed, monsoon is a very beautiful time. We always, we politely and patiently wait for
Indian monsoon,
Indian monsoon
so
with a chai pakoda and all those things,
Yeah.
long drive. But everything looks very beautiful through the windows and everything.
Yeah, with the glass.
But glass and all those things, you get a little comfortable ride and chai pakoda. But
Right.
that's not enough.
Yeah.
Because if you see the urban situation, there's a lot of clustering happens, the traffic congestion, there's a
Yes.
puddle of water,
Yeah.
and all those things and there is poor drainage.
Yes.
So if you have a rain today, it doesn't get cleared out the next day.
In fact, the city is not prepared for it.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
cannot cope up with rain.
In the previous years, in the yesterday years, I used to talk about the fever and other waterborne diseases, and now I talk about orthopedic injuries and electrical injuries because
Yes.
the other day I saw next to my house and
The trees are
a
falling.
solid tree is getting uprooted.
Yeah.
And it's quite in concern, and that is really a
So
concern
it
because
can cause death and it can cause electrical.
really, no. So what is happening? This kind of water puddle,
Yes.
and they're making your subsoil little sluggish. Maybe
Right,
you're not able to
right.
hold the trees. Number one, number two. Many times what happens because of all these electrical wires, they're not very safe. They get into the water. You get electrocuted. You must have heard a couple of incidents
Couple
where
of
people.
incidents across Delhi, we
So
had electrocution.
then, of
yes.
course, many times what happens, you don't know. Maybe the underground drain that remains open,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
you happen to
The
cross
sewage water is
sewage
getting
water is
mixed
there.
with
No,
the
you
normal
happen to
water.
cross that area, and suddenly you
Yeah.
find your legs are there,
Right?
and you end up breaking your bones. And many
Yeah,
people
yeah.
they got vanished in the rain. So
Absolutely.
it's no longer those beautiful, especially Delhi urban rains,
Yeah.
especially when you are surrounded with the Lardora areas. There, what happens? The sanitation is even much more worse.
Very poor, and we see people wading across the water puddles, and when you see the cars are crossing, there's a splash of water all over you.
And since Delhi, one is the poor drainage, number one. Number
Yes.
two is that all these Lardora areas, those who are what you call an urban slum, they have a very poor sanitation system because they
Yeah.
don't have a solid sanitation system. They
So
have
water
got those
stagnation as
water
well.
stagnations and all those contamination of fecal
Right.
matter with the water.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
you understand the situation is quite problematic. So you have fecal-oral transmissions.
Right,
You get a lot of
right.
waterborne disease in the form of typhoid and all those difficult hepatitis.
Yes.
This is one area, especially children, those who are very vulnerable, and the elderly people. This is one aspect. This has always been a problem. Then, of course, when you have the stagnant water, that is a breeding ground for all those parasites, especially the malarial parasites. You have dengue,
So
chikungunya.
tell us, doctor,
all
when
those-
we are wet, what are the possible diseases? What are the possible difficulties we might
So
face?
one is that when your surroundings are wet, when you have water puddle, when you have stagnant water, so one is that you are exposed to high level of
Right.
breeding grounds.
Right.
So on other side, your fecal-oral transmissions, you are getting a
Right.
very infective water.
Yeah.
Thirdly, most of the things which you are getting, they are not very clean.
Yeah.
So, and on the top of it, when you have this kind of rain, this not a very usual rain. What happens in areas which has got a very high level of emission of energy like air conditioning, all there the rain pattern is different because
Right.
more the energy emission, more is the rain. So you don't get a very even downpour in Delhi and NCR.
They say that in Delhi it rains by the pin code.
Yeah, it rains by the pin code, so that is properly. So other day when I was driving down from Gurugram, it was in torrential rain, and moment I entered South Delhi, there was no rain. So having said, so what you have to see is that the biggest problem, if you go by those climatic changes, what will happen is that, as you all know, the most important percentage of climatic content is your water vapor.
Right.
Otherwise also, in a healthy weather also.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, in this kind of weather, your water vapor concentration or moisture content becomes very high. So when you have a very high level of moisture content, the weather becomes very heavy. So when it becomes heavy, so what happens? The pollutants, they come down. This is what you call the weather sucks.
Right.
And on the top of it, what do we need from the air is a good quality of air. So when you have a very high level of humidity, your oxygen load in the air becomes a little heavy.
Okay.
So you find it difficult to breathe also. That's why you will find those who are vulnerable respiratory disease like COPD and asthma or rhinosinusitis, they feel very choky, they mouth breathe, they don't get enough space to breathe because the air which you are breathing, the respirable air which you are getting, that is not adequately oxygenated because more of water vapor, which is, this is another problem. Third thing what is happening is that you get a lot of secondary pollutants here. Now what happens, you have certain primary pollutants like nitrous oxide, sulfur dioxide with the vehicular emissions. When water is there, nitrous gets, combined with water becomes nitric acid. The sulfur gets combined with the water becomes sulfuric acid. You get a lot of acid rain. So they are corrosive, they affect your respiratory system, they affect your sinuses, they affect your lungs, and it's very risky for the elderly population, it's very risky for the children people. And so it's quite a chaos.
Are we cannot prevent going out, but you say that avoid outdoors. So what are the solutions within the space of the house? How do we prevent waterlogging? How do we prevent diseases and especially contamination?
The first and foremost thing which I'll tell people is that monsoon is a good time, but only thing, see to it that you should not keep your house very cluttered. And more cluttered, more there is a transmission of fomites, what do you call it? And hand washing has to be followed. Very typical. I always say follow all 6 steps in between the fingers and the back and wrist, especially under the wrist. So hand washing has to be very followed. Especially when you get your your vegetables and fruits, you should see to it that you can use some potash and or something. See to it that they're very clean and hygienic.
So the diet, do you think traditionally you used to have a lot of khichidis during this rain?
No, before coming to the khichidis, as you asked, what exactly you will be doing is that, especially see to it that there should not be waterlogging in your
in
what you call chajja or
and,
canopy areas, in your pot and in your water areas. Especially what happens, especially in South Delhi areas, we find there's a people. It's very
we love to keep
plants and all, and especially when you love and also you should take care extra pain to take care of the plants. So see to it that the water, the pots, they should not, try to empty those pots. See to it that the drainage
even in the leaves, I believe the
leaves and all those things then grow. So waterlogging should be stopped. And if really you cannot help, collecting the water, they see to it that you can use some kerosene oil so that it prevents the multiplication. Even sometimes I find in your biodiversities, when you have a little puddle or probably water, you can allow some frogs to grow because frogs doesn't allow the malarial parasites to, because the biggest threat in this kind of weather is dengue, which is quite risky, the difficult malarias and chikungunya. So see to it that the parasite, the malaria parasite, they don't multiply. The mosquitoes, they don't multiply. So oil and growing, all those things. And many things, I always tell people, there are certain things, mosquitoes, if you keep, first of all, since it's a very humid weather, as you rightly said, so you tend to lose a lot of water because it's very moistury weather, very humid weather. Drink more water. Drink unless and until it's contraindicated by your doctors. Secondly, take fruits and vegetables which are rich in water, like probably is you have water-rich fruits like melons and tender coconuts or
but then,
juicy
doctor,
fruits.
Should people buy fruits, the open cut fruits?
No, absolutely no to cut fruits, because this is the time where you get the fecal-oral transmission, the waterborne disease, the hepatitis, the
so highly avoidable.
So no, have it the peel fruits, like you can have bananas, you can have all those things, you can have oranges. There's so many good fruits that are available. Then of course one more thing is that since I told you that this is a time when you have chances of cross infection and most of the viruses that transmit. most of these viral diseases, what you happen, one is that you get through the bite of
Right.
certain vectors like mosquitoes and all.
Mosquitoes.
But many of the things, because of the moisture, which is heavy, as I told you, the weather sucks.
Yeah.
The virus stay for a longer period of time,
Right.
and they look for the human as a host. Because
Yeah.
so what happens? See to it that your upper respiratory is healthy.
Okay.
Keep cleansing it.
Okay.
Nasal wash is very good. Using saline is very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Do steaming is good, and regularly gargling. So that gargling also is very effective, because by this way you don't allow your virus to multiply in the upper
So,
respiratory.
doctor, one thing that, because of the rain, we are not stepping out so much and we are not going for walks or jogs. So, what to do? How to keep your exercises and routines going within the house?
No, in the rain, your basal metabolism increases. As I told you, ultimately the BMR, the energy which the body needs to perform, that goes up. There are a lot of activities you
You
can
feel
do.
very drowsy.
Very drowsy and all those things. I think, one is more the rain, more the activity, more the peppier you feel. But
Okay.
there are certain activities you should do. One is that I always say you can have some resistive bands at
Right,
home.
right.
You can do the resistive band exercise. I think all the people,
Yeah.
we all carry resistive
Yeah,
bands.
yeah.
You can do push-ups. If you can
And
afford
yoga.
to have you can do the high power yogic breathing
Yoga.
exercise are very
Yeah.
powerful. That is quite
Yeah.
metabolic. You can have an
So you
indoor
mean to say play the
cycle.
rain music and exercise?
Yeah, you can have an indoor cycle.
Yeah.
You can have an indoor treadmill. You can have cross trainers. So a
Right.
lot. You have an intention, and the best part of it, I tell you, is that you spend some good time in your garden. So that is very calorific. At the same time, you don't allow the water to, stay there.
Stagnate.
So play some good time with your, and
With
I
your
say
plants.
when the plants, because this is a very lovely time. The plants are very happy and peppier.
Yeah.
So
and this is the time to sow the seeds.
and this is the time to
right?
sow the seeds, and at the same time, what you find, there's a kind of synergy we get, and there's a kind of barter system we have with the plantation system,
Right.
because they give you oxygen and we give the carbon dioxide.
Right.
So you come
And also
closer.
munching through the
Yeah,
soil that
and all
prevents
those
a lot
mulching
of-
and everything. So overall, you should enjoy the weather.
Stagnation.
At the same time, you should be a little careful with the water around you. See to it, the drainage is good. The pots are adequately drained. Drink more water.
Right.
And clean foods you will have. But as you asked, a very important question: what is the kind of food? The food should be little hydrated food. Don't go for
Okay.
the dry foods.
Okay.
Khichdis are very good. You can have moong dal khichdi. You can have even wheat ka khichdi. You can
Yeah,
have.
yeah,
It's a very
absolutely.
healthy wheat. You can
Yeah.
put a lot of. Millets ka khichdi is
Oats
also
and
very good.
millets,
They are
yes.
very good. You can put
And
all
put
those
lot of
boiled
spices
vegetables
in
and
the sense
spices.
herbs,
Yeah,
Indian
spices are very
spices.
antioxidants. You Indian
Yeah.
spices are very good. You can have black pepper,
You can have
cinnamon,
the long,
and all
you can
long.
have the cloves.
And very importantly, people ask me how we can take care of the mosquito bites and all. Definitely nets and other things, and not to allow the mosquito, the vectors to multiply. But there are
Right.
certain emollient creams are available, DEET
Okay,
and other
okay.
propellants. They are very smooth and all. You can mix up with your Nivea cream, and they are very useful.
And
you can
also,
apply.
I believe that you should not throw the tea leaves.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep it on your
Tea leaves is very
little
magical.
diya
Tea leaves,
and burn it.
inhaling tea leaves, tea bag inhalation,
Yeah.
and also tea which is acid which you burn and give it.
Right.
That's very effective. They are anti-vectors, and
Absolutely.
there are certain other things. Then you have lemongrass, which is very
Lemongrass,
effective.
yeah,
Lemongrass is
yeah.
very effective.
Even
There are
our
some-
tulsi
and tulsi, and also you can vaporize certain things
Vaporize.
in this, the kapoor
Yeah.
which you call the alum,
Yeah,
which is
the
very
camphor.
effective. And one golden thing which I find, especially in Bengali families, very very fond of, because there's a Durga Puja's time. Dhunuchi,
It is
you
the
understand?
dhuno, it
Dhuno,
is,
Dhuno.
yes.
If you those non-Bengali, those who are they are listening to me, Dhuno is a very typical Bengali culture where you find the
Yeah.
aarti is given it. It's made out of all those
Raisins.
raisins, and
And it's a very good herb.
It's a husk of the coconut. So the combination is very antioxidant, very soothing,
Very holistic.
very holistic,
Very
and it doesn't
parsley.
allow the mosquitoes to come
Yeah.
inside. So a lot of good things. Enjoy the weather, enjoy the dhuno, listen to good music, do exercise it. You can have low calorie pakoras also.
And
You have now
since the
air dried
festival
pakoras
time
are
is
available.
coming-
Have khichdis are very healthy, but you have to be only a little proactive, preventive. Go for your vaccinations are very important.
Yeah.
Flu vaccination, pneumonia vaccinations you are
Right.
available. But those who are having a respiratory problem like COPD and asthma, go to your doctors, adjust your dose, do a lot of
Must be.
cleansing,
Yeah.
and stay happy and
Stay
enjoy
happy.
enjoy dance in the rain as if nobody is
Yes.
watching you.
Yes, absolutely. Just turn on the music and dance. I think that's the best form of exercise you can have and keep yourself fit.
And residents, one more thing is that we are from the southern part of Delhi. Tomorrow we are coming
Yeah.
at a very beautiful multi-speciality super camp by our great doctors from Vedanta Medicity as Kalimandir Society. Now we look after that area as a part of a social initiative.
So
Do
what
join
time
us.
are you beginning?
So we are beginning around 9:30 in the morning. So we will
Wonderful.
have a lot of
Wonderful.
good things will happen. We are
Yeah.
doing free testing. We do a
Come
lot of
over for a checkup.
checkups and all your near and dear ones, you and your helper, those who can come for the checkers. We are doing lung function tests.
Yeah,
we are
do
doing
get your
bone checks because
doctors.
many times when you are indoor bound, your vitamin D comes down, and there's a
Right,
problem with the
right.
women. Then also we are doing heart checkups. Then specialists from Vedantas are coming.
Yeah.
Orthopedic physicians, gynecologists, pulmonologists, and a group, all super specialized.
So
will be
it's
there.
going to be a
beautiful.
happy health camp.
It's a
right?
happy health camp, and also
Under
for-
Arogya.
and under Arogya. This is an Arogya means Nirogya. That means it's a kind of preventive approach.
Healing completely.
Healing, and that's what our mission is that we are coming up. We are working very hard to make the KMS healthcare is more proactive, much more happening and bubbly. And also one important thing for our civics, we are doing an absolutely blood checkups free with all detail in,
Right,
blood
right.
analysis and all those things. It will going to be a very auspicious and happening day. Do come, enjoy
Do
the environment,
participate.
and enjoy this beautiful monsoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you from Embrace Zindegi.
Namaste.
See.
Regards, Dr. Bose.